All right, hockey fans, how's everybody doing today? What we've started doing now is man on the street interviews. All right, so we what you see on the screen next to me, that is my good friend Mike. He's a big supporter, big fan of the channel, and he's almost every single live stream there. And the
Oh no!
reason
Don't
I
say that.
had
There was a lot that I skipped over. The Islanders weren't doing good
well,
last season.
well, look, relatively speaking, more times than not, I remember Mike 429 being there. Now, it's a memorable. I don't know. There's something about the way that you interact.
Maybe you're getting me confused with the other Mike that was there. The other day.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm easily confused. I'm old and decrepit. So
We
anyway,
can we can say this. I'm the one that's in the Discord, so that's a
there you
distinction.
go. There you go. Gotcha. All right. There's a couple things here a couple reasons why Mike is here. Number one, obviously, for his stunning good looks, I figured it would add some balance to the channel. And the second thing is whenever I get it wrong about the salary cap, which is just about all the time, Mike at least has a he's a little bit more knowledgeable, maybe a lot more knowledgeable of the salary cap than I am. So he's going to give me some kind of better understanding of things. So maybe I make a few less mistakes because it does seem as though people love when I make mistakes. So, Mike, thanks for coming on. First thing, really appreciate it. And just give us a little bit of background about you, how you're into hockey, and what you do.
So I got into the hockey many years ago, at least minorly as a kid growing up. I'm an Islanders fan. I'm here, grew up in Manhattan of all places, but an Islanders fan, and it's due to my family being Islanders fans. Um, and it just slowly grew over years. I turned from sport to sport, and eventually landed on hockey in my teens. And that's when I started going to hockey games by myself. Saw for dirt cheap at the time at both Nassau Coliseum. And then from there, just interests went raised, and I've just been picking stuff up generally as the years have gone by, whether it be talking to people, seeing things online, using references like AC data, Cat Friendly, just try to just try to better my understanding.
Right.
And nowadays, the biggest thing I actually do with hockey related, other than just being an Islanders fan, is I actually now manage and organize the Reddit hockey power rankings, which we just had our first ranking go up yesterday with fairly good success, all things considered. But we could talk a little more about that later.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do not be afraid to plug your stuff here. That's for sure. So, all right, so an Islanders fan. So it makes me wonder if like your family back in the day ran into Stu because he was a stick boy for the Islanders.
No, we didn't have that type of money. During those days, my dad was in college. So it's not college, but
Geez, so that's
it's
how
definitely a
old
good spot.
Stu is. That's how old Stu is. That even your dad was still only in college with that damn Stu. All right, so
My dad has a story about breaking a mug when the U.S. won the gold medal for the Olympics by smashing a mug on the wall in 1980.
oh wow,
For reference in 25.
right, okay. So here's the thing. So after the pandemic and the whole thing, and then we got the flat cap, and nobody's. It seems as though all of the hockey fan bases are in the same position where like what I lost my mind the other day with a couple of people that we had to, that we had to roll the dice that we were going to lose these guys and we didn't, and that's fine.
I was right with that.
What's that?
I was right with that.
Oh yeah, no, hey, look, and that's why you're here, Um give me you've watched me enough to know my takes and where I get confused in terms of what we can and cannot do. And so e- explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Give
So
me yeah.
So I think the big misunderstanding is that you end up having is that the salaries for players is in the name. It's a salary. It's not paid out all at the same time. It's not charged all at the same time. So let's say you have a player. Let's say in a 100 game season, and you have someone making $100,000. Just using simple numbers to make it easy to understand. For me, mentally standing here on the street, so I don't have to think too much hard about it. If you have 100 games in the season, and you have a player that's making $100,000, only 1% for that one, equally one game of that salary will be paid out at a time, and that's for each NHL game. So at the start of the season, you have all the cap space minus the signing bonus players, and that's the lump sum of the game. Then game one comes around. As soon as game one starts, you pay whatever the salary is for that percentage of the season to that player. Now that winds up meaning that I think the Islanders right now are 2 to 2.5 million underneath cap right now. That means that later on, towards the end of the season, that 2 million is still there. So they're projected by the end of it, but we could actually get someone that hypothetically could be maybe a 4 million cap hit. But because we're only paying for 6 regular season games, we're not paying it that same type of hit. So that means we can technically go overall over it in the average for the entire season, but we're not looking at the cap hit for the entire season. We're only looking at it for 16 out of 82 games.
Okay.
So does that make sense to you?
That made sense. And look, you got to give my credit because anybody that can explain something to me one time out the box and I get it, that's a damn good explanation. So that's how. See, and I didn't. You were exactly right. Where that's where a lot of us go wrong. So you see us with 2 million cap space, and it's the deadline, and how are we going to afford somebody that's got a $3 million deal? But what you're saying is it basically it's prorated in it.
Yeah. So
Into
you're only paying from your cap. It's an allowance. So you're only paying. You will have X amount of money that you can give it out for allowances to players. But if you're only paying that allowance for someone for a third, a quarter of the year, it's not going to have the same full impact on you. That's part of where the term rental comes from. You're paying a bit more for someone for short term as a rental versus taking someone and bringing them in.
Okay. All right. So now that definitely that's good news for Panther fans right now because I think um now is there a certain
I
per
do want to preference something. I
sure,
don't want to
sure.
claim that I'm an expert. I could very well get this completely wrong. I bet
And
some of
now he tells me.
the rankers very well might correct me if they see this. So some of them are a lot
Well,
smarter
you
than
know
me.
what? It wouldn't be the first time. And if trust me, if there's anything wrong said on my Twitter or on my channel, there's plenty of people just ready and waiting to be the first one to make the comment that I got it wrong. So
Generally one,
we'll
at least for
find
my
out
way.
soon enough. Um, okay, so I lost the thing that I was gonna ask you about.
Was it
Damn
about
it.
waivers? That was another one.
Oh no, it wasn't that. It was is there any percentage of the salaries that you're allowed to be over on? Like if the cap is like 85 million, can you have like 85 million and like $75 or something? Is there leeway
Here's
there?
are you thinking about what was the team that was like $17 over the other day? You're probably thinking about that. No, from what I understand, it's a hard cap. The NHL technically has a hard cap, unlike I think it's the is it the NBA or the MLB that has a soft cap that there's a luxury tax. I think it's the MLB. No, NBA. I think it's the NBA that has a luxury tax, where you pay like twice the actual contract worth for going over it.
Oh
But
wow.
no, there's nothing like that in existence. The only thing close like that is as the now well known due to the Blackhawks and the Lightning long term injured reserve. That's the only way you can quote unquote usurp the cap, but it's only by so much. Now I think there's a secondary cap for the injured reserve, long term injured reserve, but I don't know the exact the exact detail about what that cap is. All I know is that when someone's on, especially long-term injury reserve, once that NHL game comes, they don't get paid. They don't get paid the salary
Right.
allowance. It just stays in the team's bank because they're unable to perform their end of the contract, so they're not getting paid, so you don't have to lose the cap space.
Okay. And the other part to what you said is there's actually at some point you don't know the number, but
I
there's a
believe.
cap
I
to
don't
the
know.
LTIR. You can't just put like $50
I
million.
believe.
You believe?
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know for sure, but I
Okay.
believe, and then there's more other smaller caps out there. Like
Right.
we talked
Gotcha.
about the other day in the stream with the waivers.
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing where I just get look, all I know is who I want on the team, and I get pissed off when they don't listen to me. And what got me so irritated about Lucas Carlson was not 3 hours earlier, I had made the video with Stu where both of us were like the only thing that we disagreed with Maurice upon was we thought Carlson should be on the second pair, and then they released him, and now he's in the AHL. So, but in terms of waivers, now I think this all started when I had a discussion on the stream, and somebody had told me that a vice president of hockey operations had told them that if you waive a guy and he plays a game in the AHL and then he comes back to the NHL, that there would be $1 million less on his salary cap hit.
I don't. What I believe is happening there is that they're taking half of the right information, and then they're taking another half of the right information. But they're missing the middle. So I said half, but I should say thirds. They go
Right. Yeah.
first, right third, and the last third. That's correct. They're missing the middle.
Right.
You wave someone, and they go down to the AHL. You can reclaim 1.072 million, I think, in cap, something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it's something like that. And when it's just like any other player, you pay that for their NHL contract once the NHL game starts, and
Right.
they're not on the
Right.
roster, I should say.
Okay.
If they're not on the NHL roster and you're in the AHL, you can get up to 1.072 million of salary cap space back. And that's salary, not signing bonus.
Right.
So
Right.
you get
Right.
players where they make $100,000 in salary a season. Well, it's not going to do too much for you in the long term unless you're mentioned $17 underneath space,
Right. Right. Right.
which they can play with. They can play with. They have the end of the season to exactly get that right. Like I mentioned,
Right.
it's an allowance you pay to the players.
Okay. So in theory, if a team was going to be $100,000 over the cap, they could waive somebody, and if he goes down to the AHL, if he plays enough AHL games to make up that
Time
100,000.
it's not counted by for the NHL side of the contract. It's not counted by AHL games. It's counted by NHL games. So he has to miss X number of NHL games to
Okay,
get that NHL cap space back.
gotcha.
So you'll see this with waiver exempt players, where the NHL, the All Star break will come around, and the All Star break doesn't line up with the AHL All Star break. So you'll see young players get sent down to the minors. They'll play 2 games down there, and they'll come back up as if they never stopped playing throughout the All Star break.
Right, right.
That
Okay,
doesn't affect the NHL cap at all.
I gotcha. Right, because they didn't miss. You're right, but that it's important to know this stuff now more than ever because all of the teams or most of the teams are so up against the cap, and there's a lot of fans like me that are just looking at we're just looking at numbers. You know what I mean? And if you guys ever have an extra, I don't know, an extra week where you're sick and you feel like death and you want something to do, read the CBA because it's going to take you a week and you're already sick. So by the time you're done trying to digest it, you won't know the difference because I doubt. I mean, It's a
There's some
piece
weird
of
stuff
work.
in there. There's
Yeah,
some weird stuff in there.
it's a piece of
I
work.
haven't gone that far. All of my stuff is stuff I've read on websites and that I've talked to other people who've been personally online for. So
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
mean,
Okay.
so by that explanation, everything I've been saying is hearsay.
Okay, cool. So, hey, look, I'm not afraid to put whatever on the air. You know what I mean?
I know,
I
I
got a
know.
whole correction crew. Should make a shirt, right? If in fact I've never been able to sell much merchandise, but I bet you if I made a shirt that said Jaws was wrong, that shit would sell out in 5 minutes.
Maybe if you only made five of them.
Yeah, right. All right. So, last thing I want you to talk about what you do with the power rankings and all of that. Yeah. So give me your stick.
All right. So I was the Islanders power ranker for this past season, and recently the actual old organizer stepped down due to personal reasons. So I actually took it over. This is now my first season and my first few weeks as the organizer for it. Uh, each week, each week, all of my rankers, we have one for every single team to eliminate any sort of bias within the ranking, create their own power rankings. And then those are taken and averaged together to get the official power ranking that should hopefully, theoretically, remove any bias. So I would always rank the bags a little bit lower than what my gut might wind up saying. Maybe just by one or two positions. I bet you can see that for anything. I know it's the same thing for the lightning ranker. I know that's the same, especially for the stars ranker, and a few other guys. But you hope the idea with it is that everyone will average out, and you get what a pretty reasonable power rank system. You try to call them out in that using what's called a lover and hater list. So you get to see who is the lowest, the hater for the team who ranked the lowest, and who is the lover for the team who got the rank the highest.
Okay.
So somebody had a question?
Yeah. And when we're done here, if you have a link, just email
Yep.
me the link real quick and I'll add it. The link is going to be in the description to this video for anybody
Yep,
who's
I'll
interested.
send you the ranking for yesterday. I went up our week
Yeah.
zero ranking.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. So, all right, Mike. I really appreciate you taking time out.
Um,
The guy is on lunch. I mean,
I did forget what I did say one thing.
oh,
Each
go ahead.
ranker also, so yeah, sorry to interrupt, but each ranker also writes a blurb about how the team is doing, so you can get at least a rough idea. A lot of jokes going in there. Last season when COVID was hitting me on this pretty hard, I edited a poem about the Black Plague and changed all the words to fit Long Island and the Islanders and put it out there about like smog
Nice.
going across the field, bodies laying everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't know if someone moves, if they're dead or alive, stuff like it is stuff like
Yeah. You probably could
it's
have.
always a lot of fun.
You probably could have done a riff at the beginning of the season on like one of those old war letters. It's like, "Dearest Martha, we've been gone from home for 50 days."
Stuff like that happens. It's always a lot of fun. It's always a lot of
Okay.
fun.
Yep. Yeah. The link will be in the description, guys. So, all right, buddy. I really appreciate you taking time out of your work day to do this. As you can tell from the location, Mike is a well-known, highly profitable stockbroker. If you need any stock
I'm just an
tips,
IT guy.
he's
I
just an
plug your computer
IT.
back in when you unplug it
That's
from the
what
front.
they all say. Yeah, well, we'll leave it at that. Mike's a good guy. I really appreciate you coming on. And I'll see you on the live stream hopefully Thursday, bud.
Thursday I almost have a game Thursday, so we'll see about that.
All right. So I can't start streaming for the Islanders. I think they would call me out for that. So
Well,
stop it.
here's the thing: the Thursday game that you have,
Oh, that's right. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah, you should be there. You should be on the stream.
yeah,
What am I talking about?
I'll be there at the arena, but I might
Yeah, you'll
pop
be
in
there at
outside.
the arena. All right. Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. All right, buddy. It was good to finally meet you. This is the first time we met on camera, and we'll
Good
chat
talking
again
to you
soon.
guys.